Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Come on in. Hi Maria. Hi Jax. Hi RD. Hi Melinda. Anna. Hey. Anna, thank you very much for your donation. I do appreciate it. I'll give y'all the tally up that we've made so far since we started the classes for this next series. And hi, Jeremy. And we'll keep a running tally of how much more we need till we get dues paid for the website. Hi, Esther. I've got it all on spreadsheet. It's on the computer somewhere. It's like everything else in my life. It's all lost and gone. Hi, Pam. Hi, Carmen. What names? Okay, so I'm seeing what y'all are seeing. Don't ask me. I have no clue. It's you too. Hi, Karen. Everybody say hi to Mary Jane. She's in the class today. I meant to have y'all say hi for last class, but you know how that goes. Yeah, I know. Everybody's names is funky. Don't ask me. I have not a clue. Yeah, I know. He's been hanging around. I wore my Nope shirt today. So it's no Murphy, go away. Not today. But apparently he can't read anymore. Yeah, you can say that again. Well, I gotta tell y'all, we froze our booties off last night. And poor little Mia, she was just like shaking all over. I mean, she was like, yeah, she was doing the St. Vitus dance without even trying. And we just literally froze to death last night. It got down in the 40s, and I'm not used to that. I got up this morning, I was stiff as a board. And so Dennis says, "Well, I'll turn on the heater." I says, "You can't turn on the heater. It's not been prepped to be used." So yeah, we had little nippy, but it's up to 80 today. So yeah, we're getting thawed out now. But yeah, winter just creeps in on you and goes, "Hey, I'm here." And it's supposed to be cold again tonight, but he did get the heater fixed. So at least I'll thaw out tonight. And my electric blanket, it went out. It's just when it rains, it pours and pours and pours. Hi, Kathy. I'm gonna give everybody time to get in. If we run over, we just run over. If y'all have to leave, you won't hurt my feelings none at all. There's just a few things I want to go over that may put class off a little bit, but it's problems that beginners have. Okay. So we'll give them a couple of more minutes. Hi, Naomi. Y'all do your printouts. Everybody get your printouts. I'm going to tell you something about these printouts. The reason I give you these printouts is so you can use them. It's 1M. It's so you can use them for your journal books, your sample books. If you cut all this printing stuff out and put your sample beside it, it makes it easier for you to understand. No, you don't have to block your homework before you turn it in. No, I would prefer you don't. That way I can see where you're stuck or you need more instruction on. I can get a better view of where you're at. Hi, Adina. Is that correct? Did I say your name correct? Adina Sirota. That is a beautiful name. I have to say it's beautiful. Ah, that's a trick. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, don't block your work. Don't block your work. When I say it needs a bit of blocking, that means you are that close to being, where you need to be call yourself an intermediate. Okay. Oh, it's an ad commercial? Okay, I'll wait. YouTube insists I wait. Well, glad to have you, Denise. Awesome. I love new students. I do. I just love my new students. Now, for those of you that are just now coming in, we have one of our students. She was a student of Georgia's. She's 96 years old, and her name is Mary Jane Whittingham. And she comes in and listens to the class. And let me put it to you this way. I hope when I'm 96, if I make it that long, I hope I get around as well as she does. She still tats, folks. So I want everybody to say hello to Mary Jane. We try to do that in every class because it makes her feel like she's part of the class. So if you could say, Mary Jane, hi, give her a hand wave. She'll see it. All right. So, with that said, we've got a lot of new students in here today. Everybody on the website, you've got a bunch of handouts. Okay. These are for you. Now, what I used to do when I was a beginner, I would print it out, and that was my study sheet. And I went through it block by block. Okay. And I would do everything step by step. All right. Now, you don't have to do that. All right. But as time goes on, you're going to reflect back. So keep these notes because not every technique do you use in every pattern. Okay. Say that with me. Not every technique is used in every pattern. Now, there are designers that insist on using 27,000 techniques. And yes, she does. She seriously does tat some beautiful tats. Um, but you're going to need this. Trust me, you're going to need it. So, what I suggest for you new students, I want you all to get you a book. You can get one like this. It's a plastic sleeve jewelry book, and it's in my Amazon affiliate shop. It's down below in the description box. You go there, you click on it, you get it. And the proceeds from the Amazon affiliate shop, it goes towards paying for stuff to run these classes. I have to pay for software, I have to pay for website, all of that. There's my angel. She made it today. Oh, well, can you save the page with that on there? If you can, create you a folder, download it to a folder on your computer. Okay. There's a way there's the wheel, there's a way. And that's what we do. We will it and we do it. But anyway, back to this. For those of you that are joining for the first time, this is what I use for my sample book. Now, my sample book is different than your all sample book will be. Mine has every thread I use measured out to the inch, so I know how many stitches per inch I tat. Now, with that, as you move along, your tension's going to get better and better. So I advise at least once a year, update that because that is going to save you dollars and cents on your thread. If you know how many stitches per inch you tat, you can just about get a precise measurement of how much thread you will need to tat whatever you're going to tat. So that way you don't have a whole lot of waste. All right. But as you're learning, get size 10 Aunt Lydia's South Made cheap cotton thread, crochet thread. All right. And the reason you're going to do that is so you can see the stitches as they progress. All right. So in here, I've got all the threads that I use personally. Now you'll start your book with the threads that you use personally. And trust me, you can use anything that's called a thread. You can use sewing thread. We have a lady that uses quilting thread. Okay. Now, mind you, the smaller the thread, the more eyeballs you're going to need. All right. I'm fair warning. Get you a good set of magnifiers if you're going to go with the baby threads. Hi, Karen. Glad you made it. So, with that said, you can see I've even got my rings listed and who they belong to, what thread, and it shows me the size so I can compare. All right. Because some patterns will give you like sewing patterns. It says this your sample piece should be an inch by an inch. Well, you can compare. There are tatting patterns you'll run across that have that. Your ring should be this size for this many stitches. Not very often do you run into them, but if you do, you got the answer. Okay. And then I go into my techniques. And on the backs of these technique sheets, let me pull one out. These are the little plastic bags that come with the jewelry bag, the jewelry thing. I'm sorry, Esther. My mic's out. Let's see. What the hey? There we go. You hear me now? Can you hear me now? Somebody give me a thumbs up. All right. My mic just went out. I forgot to charge it. You smack my hands later, Pam. All right. So these little plastic containers that you see on the front, they come with this thing. Okay. Now, these are samples. What I've got behind that sample is instructions. I'm not going to pull that out. It's too much trouble. And it will tell you how to do these samples. Okay. I also write on the back of the card. I don't like to if I'm using the plastic baggies. Okay. But to each his own. What works for you works for you. You don't have to do your sample book this way. You can do your sample book any way you want. Okay. No, Esther, honey, it was my mic went. It's still on red. So yeah, it's got a problem. But as you go through the book, you know, and you get these pages, you're going to get stuff like this that we haven't done yet. Have it ready. Okay. See, have it ready. So when we do this, and yes, I do know these techniques. I just haven't put them in the sample book. When we do this, then you'll be able to just paste it right there and you've got the instructions. Okay. So, you can put all kinds of stuff. There's an inverted chain. Some of these techniques, you may find one pattern out of 100 that have it in there. But if you've got your sample book, you're going to know for sure how to do it because you've not only got your sample in there, but you've got your instruction on how to do it as well. And it will save you hours and hours of frustration because some of this information comes from sites that don't exist anymore. And if they don't exist anymore, where are you going to get the information? And that's been the problem with getting the website up, is because a lot of the information that we have, the sites that have it aren't there anymore because the person has went to tatting heaven, okay? Or they just quit tatting for one reason or another and shut their website. So we have to go through it step by step, make sure the right information so that we can post it on the website. We don't have the right information. I got to do some serious deep dive digging to find it. And then I have to put it up. So that's why it's taking so long on that website. It's taking longer, much longer than it should. I'll be honest with you. So with that, we've also got little tricks and tips, and we've got two patterns here. Here is one that looks like a tatting shuttle. Okay. Now this would make a good sample to put on your front of your book if you're using like a composition notebook or something like that and not one of these. That would just define what it is. Okay. Then we have from Wally a pattern she designed out of the needlework 1925 February volume 16. That's how old. It's by Mrs. J.C. Spencer. Now we have a pattern on the site called the Spencer Dolly. Miss J.C. Spencer is the Spencer that created that dolly. Now, when you are an advanced student, I suggest go get the Spencer dolly, and I suggest make it. You will be very pleased, excuse me, with the outcome. Okay. And you can claim it as your biggest investment you've ever made in your life because it's going to take you about 4 months to tat it up, or a little longer, depends on how fast you tat. But it's okay. All right. It's okay because you can always do other things to break up the pattern. Okay. So just don't avoid the bigger patterns because say it's time consuming, because you can pick up where you left off because you have the luxury of marking on your pattern. And what I do with mine is I get zippy, the big gallon, 2-gallon zippy bags. I got some here. Show you. They come in a 10 count. These are 2.5. I put all my thread, my pattern, and what I have done, my shuttle with thread on it goes in here. And I have a special place upstairs that I store all these in packets. And when I get tired, I put my pattern in there, and then I'll go through while I'm looking at it. And wait a minute, I can finish this. You see? And if you work a little bit long, you don't get drove nuts with it. All right. Because some patterns are so monotonous. I have fell asleep tatting. I'm gonna be quite honest with you folks. I have fell asleep tatting. What a shame. But I just wanted to go over that. These handouts are for the shoelace trick. I'm going to show you how to do it. The Debbie Drake's magic thread. We did magic thread Tuesday in class, or was it last Thursday? Anyway, we did it recently. I don't have to show you that. Adding new thread is today. If we can get to it, There's another magic thread trick. We've also got this, self-closing mock ring, CTM. How many of you know what a CTM is? You will see that a lot of patterns, especially snowflakes, medallions. You'll see those. CTM is continuous thread method. Okay. Now, continuous thread method is going from, let me do this, one shuttle out to a ball of thread, right jacks, right in them, or the second shuttle. It's continuous. There's no knots. Okay. And the reason I say continuous thread is usually because the first ring, most patterns start with a ring. Okay. The first ring has intricate techniques in it that if you do it without being continuous thread, you got some serious problems with it. And you don't want that. You can mention size. You don't have to mention the color. I've got a booklet that tells me every color that's out there in candy hands and thread, and I also have access to find out what's Olympus is, and yeah, so I don't need to know the color, just the size of thread. I would prefer, okay, if you work with 10, fine. I don't have a problem with size 10. 20 is my preference. The reason is 20 is the closest to resemble the actual pattern. There will be deviances with sizes outside of 20 with it in the pattern, because the larger the thread, you have to change the pattern, okay? The smaller the thread, you have to change the pattern, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can really mess it up, and it could cost you, you know, causing me guessing games if you can do this or not. You see, and figuring out what you need help with. So for benefit of grading, stick with 10 and 20, all right? However, for you diehard folks that love 80, knock yourself out. We'll figure it out, okay? But just remember, I only wear one pair of glasses and it gives me 4 eyes and I still can't see good. So, I mean, seriously, it's a chore. It's a chore. But it doesn't matter what color you use as long as it shows up on a photo. Okay? And try to stay away from the busy backgrounds. Okay? Yeah, that's an eye strain looking for trouble. So, with that said, let's get back to the continuous thread method. Now, let's say you want to tat your rings in one color, your chains in another color, like this. I'm using this here is size 3. Okay? It's so I can hold it up and show you. Now, if this thread and this thread is joined, okay, then is that still continuous thread? Now think on that before you answer. Is it continuous thread? It's going to have a knot in it, isn't it? Or is it? Think about that. There's ways to start a pattern without a knot. Now, when I zoom in, I'm going to flip the camera down. When I zoom into this, I want you all to find the knot. Okay? So let me go switch to the down shot. And if we can get things going together today, we're going to be on a roll if we keep Murphy out of our biz. All right, let me zoom in just a hair, folks. I want to zoom in just a hair because I want you to see. Y'all see that okay? You know, give me a thumbs up. You're right, Denise. Kathy, perfect. Anna, you're right. It is continuous thread. because you can start off your pattern with 2 colors of thread without tying a knot. It's a knotless method. The best explanation for that method is Dora Young's Knotless Tatting. The book is still available. Get it while you can. Handy Hands and Lacis both carry it. Okay, Karen, is that good, Karen? I wanna make sure everybody can see this because I want you to find my knot. There it is. Can y'all see a knot in that anywhere? It's Dora Young's Knotless Tatting. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, there's not a knot in here. Nowhere. I put no knots in my work. I don't use knots to add thread. I don't use knots for anything. They're so hard to work that there are other ways you can go. The whole thing in a nutshell, make sure your thread is anchored. Now, what do I mean by anchoring our thread? Let's think about that. What could that possibly mean? Let me get a shuttle up here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I don't have 2 shuttles fixed up. I've been cleaning shuttles off, and it's hard to clean off your shuttles and also make sure you've got thread to work with when you're trying to get stuff ready to move. In case you all you new people, I live on in an RV, and we travel, and we're fixing to move the RV. So, yeah, so everything has to be condensed so it doesn't get damaged in the travel. Now, I'm gonna wind just a little bit of thread on this shuttle. Now, for you new people, I want you to see what I'm doing here, okay? This here is called a helper loop. Trust me, you want one of these, alright? Let me zoom out some, because that's too close, and I'm gonna get out of camera shot. This here is a helper loop. It comes off the shuttle. See? It's got a loop in it, just like this. You want one of these. You want to put one on every shuttle you own. Why? Because when you go to wind your shuttle, 1, it makes it easier, and 2, when you get down to the end and you've got just a little bit more to go, you have thread to work with, and don't lose it because you've got all this thread that you can make go towards your work. Now, a helper loop, when you thread it in, you can either just leave it like that, it's not gonna go anywhere, or you can take and spread the loop, and it'll pop and switch places. That'll lock it in, okay? When you go to remove it, you just take it, flip it the other way, and slide it off your thread. A helper loop is just what it is. It's a thread you tie on the post of your shuttle. Don't matter how you tie it, slip knot, a regular knot like I use, doesn't matter because it'll stay there forever till it goes threadbare from use. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hook up some thread on here, and I'm gonna show you how to start your projects on a ring. Okay. And then we're gonna go into the chain. Okay. So I'm gonna just make enough just to do a ring and a chain on this, which will be, not too much thread, that's for sure. Yes, I'm using the windmill method because that tail is driving me nuts. I want to get it out of my way. Now, when you walk your shuttle like this, for the new people that just came in, this is called walking your shuttle on there. When you do this, you remove a lot of the twist you're going to get with Elizabeth, but not never enough. Okay, I will tell you that much. It's never enough to remove the twist. However, drop it down and let it twirl. Let it do it. I call it a sit and spin. Okay. And it's just spinning and it's taking and backing off the twist. But if you've got in this dark thread, the darker the thread, the more twist you get. I don't know why. But if you will take the darker threads or whatever's got a lot of twist to it and you back it off, you untwist. See how I'm doing the untwist? You turn it opposite of the twist and loosen it up. Then drop your shuttle and you see it's not twisting. Sometimes it will, but most times it won't. And it takes the twist out. It softens it. Okay, so now we've got that shuttle wound. Move this out of the way. Wish I didn't have that frog again. I think it's because the door was open. This is my bad allergy season. One of them, I get it spring and fall. Lucky me. So if my frog gets in the way, I'll get rid of it. Okay. All right, now here we go. See, I've got my blue thread. Watch what I'm going to do here. I've got my pink thread. Now, what I do is I take the pink, lay it over the blue, and pull it under like that. You see that? Over. Fingers work. Over the blue, under the blue, like that. This blue thread, pull you a lot out. You don't want to lose the blue thread. Okay. So the first thing we are going to do is adjust our thread. All right. The reason we adjust our thread is we don't want this humongous tail have to mess. But we're going to work this tail in. And we are going to do a pattern that's 6 picot 6. Now, for all of you that don't know how to set up the loom for the ring, this is called the pinch. Okay? The pinch is where everything parks while you're working. That pinch holds everything in place. All right? So what you're going to do is lay your folded blue thread or whatever color you're using and the thread that goes to your shuttle in the pinch. You wrap the thread around your hand in a circle or a loom. You draw it up to here like this. Okay? What it's going to look like is that. See that? No, that's my voice. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. I have another set of mics, but they're not charged. I'll charge them. I'll start using those. They seem to, these here are just not acting right for some reason. I don't know why they're not even charging. There we go. We got it. Okay. So it will look like that. Everybody got that? Give me a thumbs up if you got that. The pinch and how everything lays in the pinch. Now, I had a question. Does these threads cross in the pinch? That's up to you. Because what's going to happen is when you do your double stitch, it's going to lock everything down already. So it doesn't matter if you lay this thread from the bottom side of your loom on top of this work, behind the work, or beside the work. Okay? So let's get on with it. We got that set. First thing we're going to do is make our first half of the double stitch. We roll our hand around like this. See the thread on top of my hand? We slide that thread under the thread, over the thread, back through the loop. Once we do that, we loosen that finger and pop. When we pop, we have just rotated that knot from this thread or from this thread, excuse me, over to here. You take this tail and you feed it through, okay? And you once you do this, you'll be used to it. You can do this in your sleep. And yes, I have tatted in my sleep. I've woke myself up tatting, I will say that, okay? So, the second half of that stitch goes over, under, through the loop, loosen the tension, pop. We flip the stitch, okay? And you can use whatever method you need to use to remember how to do that. Now, I shared with somebody today or yesterday about what happened to me when I was learning. The only time I had a chance to tap was yes, that's anchoring. That is anchoring. You're anchoring your stitch. When you can open your hand and nothing moves, your stitch is anchored, okay? Alright, I'll wait. But I can tell y'all, maybe y'all can the ones that don't get the commercial. Uh, is everybody getting the commercial at the same time? It looks to be. Hmm, that works. I think I've hit the sweet spot. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Alright, so when I was learning, I didn't get much time to tat because I was taking care of my mother. She lived 2 hours away from me, and when she sneezed, I had to go. And so at night when we go to bed, I'd take my shuttles and my thread, my headphones, and my tablet, and I would sit there and I'd try to do the techniques, and you'd hear this click, 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 click. Oh, dang it. Click, click, click. Oh, dang it. My husband listened to that all night long. I mean, I would stay up to daybreak trying to get the flip and everything right like it was supposed to go. And he had to listen to the, "Oh, dang it," and the click, click, click. When it finally hit 10 stitches in a row, he was like I yelled, I screamed, people probably 7 blocks away probably heard me. And he said, "Thank God it's over. I never wanna hear that again, and don't you ever bring them things in this bedroom again." So, yeah, do whatever you need is necessary to remember what you've gotta do. Now, the best way to remember how to put your double stitch in is let me tighten that up, it got loose. Your first half goes over, over, over your fingers, under, over, under, over. That's your steps, okay? So, let's do this. Watch what I'm doing. We'll get around to the first half again. So, it goes over the hand, under the thread, over the thread, okay? And then you can tie your ends in, or you can just tie off a knot to start and practice. The second half is over the thread, under the thread, done, okay? That is the double stitch. And as you can see, we got 3 double stitches. Now your double stitch, if I can get it in the camera shot right, the double stitch here looks like a pair of pants. You have a waistband and 2 legs, okay? Trying to stay in shot. Waistband and 2 legs. Now what that's going to do, once you see you've got a waistband and 2 legs, it's going to allow you to move your thread. Watch the shuttle. Watch. Move your thread back and forth to open your ring and to close your ring, Okay? So, we wanna do 6 picot 6. So let's put in some more of these little puppies, okay? And like I say, we take our time. I wanna make sure everybody's got this double stitch down because this is the most important part of tatting. The rest will find its home. Remember that. Everything else will fall into place just like it's supposed to once you get this double stitch down, okay? It is the hardest part. That's 5, and we've got 6. Once you've got a waistband and 2 pant legs, that is a completed double stitch. You count your waistbands to see how many stitches you've got. If you've got 6 waistbands, you've got 6 stitches. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, now we're gonna put in a picot. Now we've got this tail to contend with, but you never, ever break off with your tatting tails in the middle of a stitch at the end of a stitch or in the middle of a picot. Make note of that. I'll wait while y'all make notes, and Imma show you this. When you bring your tail through a picot, hold both the tail and your core thread, and you walk that double stitch over. You don't want the tail kinking up in your picot. It will show, and it will back itself out, alright? Now you're gonna put in another completed double stitch. Gonna anchor this really, really good so it doesn't come out. We don't want it to come out. And the more stitches you can cover, the better you are. Alright, now we're gonna put in our first half of the 3rd stitch and pull that tail out backside. As you can see, I've really covered that tail well. Now, you can either cut this tail off at this point, or I would fold it back and hold the tail out of the way and continue on and cut the tail later. Because if you miss, you start over because you will cut this one, or this one every time, especially if Murphy lives with you like he does me. He should pay me rent, I'm telling you. He should, but he don't. That's Murphy for you. He's just a mooch. Alright, that's 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now we're gonna close that ring. What you're gonna do is pull that off your hand. You've got 2 ends. You've got this end and this. You want both ends brought into the pinch, and you wanna hold that pinch and close that ring. Once you get it to the point you can't see anything, but you feel stuff under there, pull it this way. Just keep pulling till it's tight. We're not gonna get into the fancy footwork, not yet. Now you see I got a tail back here, right? We gotta snip that tail off. If you lay your tatting on the table, you can take your scissors and you can cut it without cutting your picot or anything else. If you just watch what you're doing and you get rid of that tail, it's a goner. If it doesn't attach to everything else. I usually have a mat down here. I didn't put one down. It's over there somewhere. Alright, now we have to start our chain, and someone else was having trouble going from the ring to the chain. Now you see this big, long thread we've got? We need to shorten that. What we're gonna do is hold our ring, and we're gonna put it in the pinch, and we're gonna pull till we get that tail the length we want. Now, somebody tell me why we put it in the pinch and hold it in place when all we're doing is backing the thread up. Y'all guess at it? Just take a shot in the dark. I bet you one of you'll get the right answer. If you think about it, this is where logic steps in. Logic says if you pull too hard, you're going to pull this tail out. When you pull this tail out, you're back to square one. Okay? You don't want to pull it out. So when you put it in the pinch, you can feel where the end of that tail comes in to the ring. Okay? You can feel this. Right, Kathy. Right. Y'all got it right. You don't want it to loosen. If it does, retighten your ring. Don't pull on the thread. Now, after you get your tail down to size that's manageable, you reverse your work. When we reverse our work, top becomes bottom. And what that means is the top becomes the bottom in the pinch. Okay? And these are terms that every tatter learns. Okay? So the next half of this fun little deal is the chain. And what we do is after we've got it in the pinch, we wrap our loom for our chain. Goes around the middle finger, all the way around our ring finger, come around the back side of our pinky and to the front. Close these two fingers because your tension for the next half of this is kept right here. If you don't keep this tight, you're going to have loosey-goosey stitches, and you don't want the loosey-goosey stitches. You want your tatting to be pristine. That is your goal, okay? Because you want to do competitions and make some serious money, you want pristine, okay? Um, Tatting is uncommon to the average person, okay? I've had people ask me, "What you crocheting?" I'm saying, "Have you ever seen a crochet hook that looks like this?" Okay? No. And I let them know. I said, "This is tatting." "Well, what is that?" And then I tell them it dates back to the 1800s, as far as we know. It could go back further than that. But it is called poor man's lace because poor people could afford the materials to make lace, and they could dress like the upper echelons, okay? So it's poor man's lace. Anybody ask, it's poor man's lace. But it holds its own weight when it's this against other laces. It'll hold its own. But it's the most inexpensive lace you can make, and it's got just as much detail as other laces. Okay? So here we go. We're gonna do the second half of this deal, and we're putting in a chain. Now our chain's gonna consist of 10 double stitches. All right? So same deal as the other side. Okay? We're gonna put in 10 double stitches. We pop that in. See, after you get used to tatting, did you see me pull my finger out or anything? I loosened my tension just enough to get the thread to change over. Watch closely, okay? Watch this finger here. See? When I do that, it switches places. You see the pink and the blue. I am flipping that knot. That's your flip, folks. Get back out here. It's working its way in. Watch what I'm doing. This is what it looks like when you first put it on there. Loosen it, pop. Then you got the blue thread. Tighten it, loosen it, tighten it, loosen it. If you sit there and play with your thread like that for 5 minutes, you will have the flip down in about 2.2 seconds. And then you're just having fun after that. So try that. I want everybody to grab your thread and try it. This is how you work that muscle memory in. Now you can do it a little bit or a lot. It's up to you. Got it in there. Now don't let go. It's too tight. And it'll work its way down. Know that it will. Now, this is the second half. We're gonna put in 10 double stitches. You know, the pants. Put in 10 more pair of pants. Okay, so we got 1 pair, we got 9 more pair. We're gonna hang them on this clothesline that's the pink thread. Remember in the old days when they had clotheslines and everybody's pants hung on the clothesline? That's what this is gonna look like. Alright, we got 2, and we got 3, 4, 5. This is slow for me. 6. When you get as many years behind you as I've got, you get fast. You get really fast. I tell you, one year at, tatting convention, they had a you had to walk and tat at the same time. It was a rally, and, oh, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. I just have to say it was hilarious. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, we're gonna drop this blue thread here, fold it back, put it in the middle of a stitch, not the middle of a picot, and not at the end of the stitch, okay? Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got 1 more pant to put up, and then the second pant to put up. We got 10 pants hanging on our clothesline. See them? 10 pair of pants hanging on a clothesline. This is the clothesline. Yes, it is your tension. That will always, always be the tension. That comes with time and practice. Y'all don't worry so much about your tension, okay, right now. That's gonna come. What you're working towards is getting those pants looking nice. That's what you want. You want your pants to be freshly pressed, in other words. That's what you want. You wanna see that your pants are hanging out together and, becoming friends. Now, if you wanna check your tension, what you do get that wrapped up on my hand here. You can separate let me get that tail off so you can see it better. You same deal with this, you just lay it on your table, pick it up, get your fingernails out of the way. You gotta take the daggers off. Yeah, my fingernails grow fast. My hair grows fast, and I got fertilizer in my body somehow. Alright, now to check your tension, pay attention. You pull those stitches apart, and if the spacing on those stitches is the same, then your tension is correct, okay? And you wanna pull them apart as far as you can and adjust them. See, I haven't got the whole row out. You would pull the whole row loose, and this gap between your stitches will be even, okay? That's how you know your tension is right. Then when you get through with your chain, okay, you just pull it and pop that chain into place, and it will have a natural curve to it. I keep getting out of shot here. Something is wrong. I think it's because 'cause I'm in zoomed in too much. Let me take this out. Yeah, that's it. Now I can stay in camera. I'm sorry about that, guys. I can slap my hands for it later. Alright, so that's your first lesson for today. That goes from a ring to a chain. This is the back side of your work, the way you tell the front from the back. The back, you have no pants on either side of your picot. The front, you do have pants on the sides of your picot because you have a waistband on both sides of your picot. How tight do you compress? Just enough to hold it. I mean, we're not dragging in ponies. Okay, so you just grab it. My finger doesn't even change color. I just hold it in place. Now, there are people that really clamp down and pull. You don't want to do that. You really don't want to do that because if you do, what it's going to do is it's going to wear on this knuckle here and this knuckle here. Any of you have arthritis, you really don't want to do that. This will irritate arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis, to the nth degree. So don't clamp down like it's your last saving grace. Just hold it. And, you can apply a little bit of pressure. A little bit goes a long way, okay? You've got arthritis, Carmen, don't press like this to where you don't wanna do that. Really, you guys don't wanna do that. It's not good for you. Now, winter's coming on. I'm gonna give y'all a bit of advice, okay? I've got all these little squishy ball things. See 'em? My little squishy ball things, okay? You know what these are for? These are so you can exercise your hands and warm up your muscles and warm up your joints before you start tatting. The wintertime, I keep one of these all the time in my tatting bag. You can pick these up at Walmart, okay? They got all kinds of sayings. I got this, at Tat Days. Um, but you can use these. I've got these are my minions. They used to sit up on a shelf, and these are my minions. I have to fight my grandkids for these, but these fit in the hand nice, and all you're doing is moving them, squishing, okay? So, that will get you a lot of points towards your arthur not hurting, okay? So, get you some squishy things and squishy. Stretch your fingers. You'll hear my knuckles pop when I'm working, and I try to pop my joints before I go, and that way I pop them is the way my chiropractor go at it firstly, front and back. They don't pop side to side gently, and they will line up all your joints. Then get your squishy ball. That is the way you fight arthur, and you win the battle, okay? You have to work them joints. For you young people that don't have arthur, start now because you're going to have arthur if you do any handiwork, okay? I'm just saying. So start now. Alright, now, self-closing mock ring. Anybody know what a self-closing mock ring is? Needle tatters use a self-closing mock ring. So do shuttle tatters, okay? Now there's times you're going to need to do a self-closing mock ring, okay? What that does for you is it gives you an opportunity to do a chain and make a ring. And I've got a video up on it. I am not set up for a self-closing mock ring, but I do have a video up on it. Watch it. It's the easiest technique you'll ever do, right? When you go to the channel, it's self-closing mock ring. It's gonna come up. There's like 3 or 4 videos for it, okay? Shoelace trick. Let me show you that. I'm gonna show you that on the bigger threads so you can see it. Come on. Get out from underneath and see how they just jump together and they say, "Hey, we're gonna have party." They do, I swear. Alright, shoelace strip. Now, y'all wear shoes. Everybody wears tennis shoes. Everybody got a pair of tennis shoes. First thing when you put on a pair of tennis shoes and you're gonna tie your laces, what do you do? What do you do? You do the first part of the bow, which is let me get these shortened up some so y'all can see what I'm doing. We've got a bunch of conflicting stuff in the way. One more wrap on now. Now, this is gonna be our tennis shoe. That's our tennis shoe. We take our right shoelace and our left shoelace. We cross them. We bring the right shoelace up through our loop and we pull our lace down for our first half of our shoelace trick. And it'll lay flat right there up against. Okay? You just bring it down. Now, for shuttle tatters, this will change the position of our threads. Okay? It makes this one our chain thread, the solid color, and this one our ring thread. How come? Anybody have any idea how come that is that way? Think of it. Before, the rings was done with this shuttle, the chain was done with this shuttle. So when we do the shoelace trick, it's gonna change the position of those 2 shuttles, therefore change the color of what goes where. And the way you tell, check this out. This one is closest to your working shuttle. Right, Kathy, we flip the thread. That is closest to your working shuttle. This is the thread that's gonna be the core, and this is the thread if you're doing a chain, only if you're doing a chain. This is the thread that will be on the chain because you're gonna flip it over onto the core thread. Does everybody understand that? This can be confusing. This is where you go, "Huh?" This thread that is closest to you is always core, okay? This thread that is furthest from you is the thread that makes the chain, okay? Let me show you. I'm gonna make a chain stitch and show you what I'm talking about, okay? This is the core thread. Now, this is the thread that's furthest away from you. We're going to do the first stitch, and there it is. As you can see, it changed the color right there, okay? Now, if we were doing a ring, check this out. This is where you're gonna say, "Oh boy, now I'm lost." Pay very close attention. I don't want you lost. I want you to. Now, if we're gonna make a ring, our ring's gonna be right here next to that one. We wrap our hand for a ring, and guess what? This shuttle will then be both core and working thread. Everybody got that? The shoelace trick can change what thread is up here at the top. If you are working a pattern and it has variegated threads in there, like this one, and you say, "Well, I want all the rings in this section to be this color." Well, this is our thread we work with. What do I do to get everything that's color? Okay? You just use a shoelace trick. Shoelace trick comes in handy also if you're running low on thread and you're working with the same color of thread throughout. You can flip your shuttles around and use up the shuttle that has the more thread and just keep doing it, and it will not show. It won't show. So there is several uses for the shoelace. Now for needle tatters, okay, needle tatters use the shoelace trick or the self-closing mock ring, excuse me, to close their rings. So I'm gonna put this in here. I'm going to put on 6 double stitches here because I'm using this heavy duty yarn to demonstrate. I'll show you something. This is my tail. Pull it through. You want that loop in your hand. This is the loop you're going to run that needle through once you get the tail out, okay? You wanna pull which side the tail is connected to. Yes, I needle and shuttle. I'm more professed at shuttle. Alright, I didn't give myself enough room. Let's go up here. Now I got some room. Now you wanna take that needle, if I can get this to work, fingers work through. Don't want it to come off that end. Definitely don't want that loop. I normally wouldn't do this way, okay? Pull that through and you'd close your ring. Well, then they do the shoelace trick to lock that ring in place. Okay, this crappy ring, just bear with me, okay? I didn't leave myself enough room. My hands for it later. I just want to demonstrate that shoelace trick. For them, when they flip their work over and they take that needle down through, they're trying the shoelace trick just like we do, and they're bringing it down to their tatting to lock that into place, and it lays flat on their tatting the same way it lays flat on ours, okay? Yeah, I'll be teaching a needle class here sometime soon. I don't know when yet. I haven't set it. I wanna make sure I've got everything together for it, and then I'll be teaching one. So there we go. We got it? We got an ad. Okay, we got an ad. Now, that's it for the needle. I just wanted to show you that shuttle and needle both uses shoelace trick, self-closing mock ring. Now, needle doesn't use all the techniques that shuttle uses because it can't. It is a solid surface. As you can see, you can't bend this needle and make it go anywhere. So everything has to be done a certain way. You've got, I call it fendangling stuff to make needle do what you can do with a shuttle. However, hear me out when I say this, because I'm going to get flat. There is techniques, and I'm guilty. I am guilty that look 100 times better on needle than shuttle. There are techniques that look 100 times better on shuttle than it does on needle. That's tatter preference. You can do all the techniques on shuttle, but you're limited on needle. You have to figure them out. Needle doesn't come with handy books like shuttle does. Your die-hard shuttle tatters are not crazy about needle tatters, but needle tatting dates back into, I do know of, the '70s. Okay, so everybody got an ad. Alright, I'm gonna give it a minute. Is the ad done? Carmen says her ad's done. Melinda's ad's done. Jeremy? Alright. Kathy, that is up to the tatter. For my preference, the Josephine knots and the Josephine, chain looks better on needle than on shuttle because you can control it better. Um, on shuttle, you tend to take the twist out too much and it shows. Uh, split rings are better on a shuttle than on needle because you destroy your thread doing a split ring, okay? The, oh Lord, I can't even think of all of them. I got a list. I have to find a list of the different techniques techniques that look better, in my opinion, in shuttle and which ones look better in needle. I have been known, yeah, and cars. Yeah, you're right, Anna, thank you. And cars, Celtic, and block tatting. Needle is the way to go. Oh, Clooney's, that's the other one. Clooney tatting is so much easier on needle because you can just whip right back and forth with that. Um, and that's what I say, it's tatter preference. I have been known to unwind a shuttle full of thread like this and do a chain, a Josephine chain, and then rethread the shuttle to move on from that Josephine thread or Josephine chain. So, is it worth it to you for the look you're looking for? That's up to you. I can't tell you. It's each his own. 99.99% of tatting is what looks good to the tatter, okay? And you have to decide what you like. Now, if you're going into competitions, I advise you follow instruction. Keep everything uniform, do the same thing throughout your pattern. If you are going to pull it off of a shuttle and put it on a needle because it looks better, do it throughout the pattern. If you're going to use up joints all the way through, do it throughout the pattern. Because whatever changes you make to any technique that you are using, it will show to a person that knows tatting inside and out, which are judges, and they do know, okay? Because they're tatters. They know. They can detect everything. I took my, tatters across time, and I kept getting this comment, "You didn't flatten your core, didn't flatten your core." I'm like, "I'd never heard of flattening the core." Well, little did I know, and, it's not important, but some people want it to be. They think it looks better. Their opinion counts because you're in a competition. But flattening your core is when you take your fingernail and you stick it between each stitch, okay? And you force that core thread to lay flat, and that way your tatting will lay flat. Well, that's what some people like, other people don't. It's tatter preference. If you tell them if you're in a competition that, you know, somebody is picky like that, you tell them, you say, "Well, I didn't know that that was required because it's not a standard technique." They may let you slide. I don't know. So, you know, like I say, be careful what you do, but whatever you do it throughout the piece because it's noticed, okay? So with that, let's see, what do we got? Front side, back side, we'll get into that next week. Opening a closed ring. That was another question. Now, I've got a ring here and it's connected. We're gonna pretend that I've got a mistake in this ring, and I'm gonna show you guys how to open that closed ring back up. Now we've got the shoelace trick here that has to be removed because you can't open the ring with the half knot in your way, okay? You have to have the 2 separated sides. See that? They're separated. Now what you wanna do, crochet hook. Make sure you're using a crochet hook that goes with the thread you're using. Don't try to use one of these really teeny, crochet hooks like, well, here's one for instance. Don't try to use that crochet hook in here because you're gonna split your plies on your thread, alright? Now, what you're gonna do is go in here like this. You're going to put your fingernail right here in the center of that picot, and you're gonna separate those stitches, okay? Once you get the core thread on your crochet hook. Lay your thumb there, put the rest of that those stitches, the end of your ring, in the pinch, so they don't twist. If they flip, you ain't getting nothing done. You're not going nowhere. Once you get enough thread out, see these are hackle pliers. If your husband fishes and he fixes his own lures, snag his hackle pliers. Make sure you sterilize them first. Or crisscross tweezers. Either one will work. This is a beater's dream. Okay, this is what they use for uh, tying pearls and stuff. They have a tool besides this one, but this is cheaper and easier, and it does more for beaters. So get you a tool that you can use, and see the hackle pliers do the same thing. You put the hackle pliers on that core thread, and you start pulling, and you keep pulling. See how it's all coming out? Keep it in the pinch. Stick it on your finger. Give yourself enough slack so you can get that ring open. Now, we've got it on our hand. See, we've got the 3 stitches here. We wanna separate in that section right there. Gently. You do not want that stitch, that last stitch on that ring to flip over. Now, there's a little trick you can do to keep that last stitch from flipping, and that is you can post your shuttle before you close your ring. If you post your shuttle, what that means is you drop the shuttle, and I'll show you on this after we get the ring open. Drop your shuttle down the middle of the ring, and it forces that thread to the back. Okay? See how we're getting it open? Now, we got it open. We loop it on our hand like this. Get it out of the ring and slip down inside the ring. And we start removing our stitches, just like this. Start taking them out. And we're going to get it to where it'll lay like it's supposed to. Okay. These are all questions that were asked this week. And hey, it's cool. It's cool. We'll get things done in the time that it takes, right? So we're going to work our way back to this picot here. And when you do this, you see how much twist is in that thread? Watch. It was kinking up on itself. Drop it and let it do its sit and stand. Okay? If it keeps twisting, you just sit there. One thing tatting will teach you is patience above all else. Okay? Now we're back to that picot where we pulled everything together, right? Now what I'm going to do is pull out this way, drop that shuttle, let it spin some, and then I'm going to pull back on that thread, and you'll see it'll take off spinning again. You let it do that, and that twist will come out, okay, to a tolerable level. Now we're gonna put our double stitches in with our picot again. 1, 2, I think we had 3 double stitches there, and 3. Now if we're gonna post our shuttle, what we're gonna do is drop that shuttle through the ring, then we put it on the pinch, or in the pinch. Pull your sides together, start closing that ring, and then pull back towards yourself to tighten that ring in. When you do that, it will close the ring and both sides will come together and look continuous. That is posting your shuttle. When you go to open your ring, if you made a mistake, it won't flip back on itself if you post your shuttle. Okay? Now, are there any questions at all about today's class? Let me get Miss Mouse working. There she goes. Come on, Miss Mouse. All right, we're back. Kathy, if you post on the first ring, try to make it a habit to post on all. Now, if you're doing a ring on the backside, front side, backside, when we get into front side, backside, I'm gonna tell you and teach you a couple of things on how to do it so it looks right and follows through. Yeah, do it on the next every ring. If you do it on one, you gotta do it on all. Make it a habit now because old habits are hard to break, okay? You get muscle memory for what you want to do now. Learn from the things that I'm telling you because this was not freely given information. These are little secrets that tatters keep to themselves. I believe in sharing wholeheartedly. Okay. So, you know, just make habits, good habits, not bad habits. Bad habits are hard to break. I didn't learn about posting my shuttle till much later in my tatting endeavors. And by then, it was hard for me to move from that. I know, I can relate with that. So, put a Post-it note, big letters, make sure it's bright pink, bright green, some it's gonna catch your eye and say, "Here, do it here," and do it on every ring. How tightly do I compress the chain when finished? Just until it makes a nice curve. That's all. You wanna pull everything into a shape that looks good. This one here, you can feel it. We have a class on tatting by feel because you do need to know that. Yeah, don't post an onion ring. Don't post an onion ring. If you post an onion ring, only do the center ring, not the outer rings. It's gonna make it work itself loose. An onion ring will work itself loose. Okay. Right, back to the compressing. If you compress too hard, you're not gonna be able to close. So, take your time. That is all part of tension. You've gotta work on it. It's not gonna come overnight. You're not gonna have it next week. Know that. Know that you're not doing anything wrong. Let's get that in our little head up here. You're not doing anything wrong. If you follow what I show, you're not doing anything wrong. You're bettering your journey in tatting. You're getting the best that you can get. Everything I teach you comes from Georgia. She taught me. I When I first started tatting, there was a lady in the town that I lived in, and she taught tatting, you know, and I inherited my great aunt's tatting shuttles and needles. And needless to say, I went looking for somebody to teach me to tat, and she taught a tatting class, and it was $185 for this class. And she says, "Have you ever had it before?" I said, "No, I don't know how to, but I know what it looks like, and I want to learn because it's beautiful." She says, "I can teach you. You must know the basics before I can teach you." And I took a step back, and that's when I went looking for somebody else, and I found Georgia, and, she taught me everything. She taught me everything I know, and to repay her for what she did, I started making videos and, you know, to remind me of how to do all these techniques. It's an old video channel, but it was for my personal use. They weren't released to public. But then other students were having problems. They were visual students, and I didn't mind sharing, and I released the videos for public. People went wild over them. I'm like, "Graphics, I don't know, weird," you know? And then Georgia said, "Can you make me a couple of videos?" I said, "Sure, I'll give it a whirl." And that's how it got started, and I started making the videos for Georgia. And then I had designers, "Can you make a video, a tag along on this pattern?" And that's where it went. And then when Georgia retired, Sue handled the classes in the interim because I was dealing with my mother, and she had dementia. It was going into Alzheimer's. And, so Georgia wouldn't ask me during a time like that. Well, it wasn't long after mom was put in the nursing home, I got the call from Georgia that she wanted me to take the classes. I was honored, and I told her, I said, "Are you sure about this?" She says, "I'm sure." She says, "I know you can do it." That's how I ended up here, and I made a commitment and promise to her. The commitment is I would teach people to tat using her way of tatting, and then I would do it for free because that's what Georgia did. And I'll be honest with you, it's been a struggle to get to this point, but it's been a blessing too. And every day I hear one of you, "I got it." You have no idea the joy I share with you. Thank you so much for that compliment, Carmen. You all are great students, I have to say. I've got some awesome students. Y'all got patience, I tell you. You got patience. I don't have to send y'all. Yeah. Anna knows about the cardinal. It's a cute story. I learned patience with that cardinal. Georgia come out in class and says, "I need somebody to pat some samples for me." Of course, I was gonna be brave. I said, I'll help." She says, "Can you tap me 25?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Then she sends me the pattern, and I'm going, "Oh, there's a little bitty beak on this bird, and it's black. The rest of the bird's red." And she didn't want the black to show. I had never done anything like that before in my life. Never. I worked my fingers to the bone. I know I threw away a whole ball of thread trying to get the beak right because it was going to Georgia, okay? So I got the first 25. I said to her, and she said, "Oh, you did wonderful. Can I ask you a favor?" I said, "What?" She says, "Can you do another batch for me?" I said, "Yeah, I guess so." And then she hit me with 50. Went on, and I ended up doing over $400, about 400 cardinals for her. I believe it was 400. It's been many moons ago. But the pattern I shredded afterwards. And she says, "I taught you one thing with that pattern." I said, "What's that?" She said, "Patience." It was a lesson. She didn't need it for any, and it's because I was like you all, I'm ready to run. I can't walk, but I'm ready to run. And that's what I say, "Take your time. I've got all the time you need." Oh, well, thank you, Kathy. Thank you, thank you. I hope you do. I think everybody should be able to learn what they wanna learn, especially in the crafting world. Not have to pay an arm and a leg for it. It's bad enough you gotta buy the supplies, you know? And I don't mind sharing, I really don't. And I do hope you all get something from it. I mean, seriously, I do hope you do. I want you to be able to say, "I can do it." You can't wait to do the cardinal pattern? We will do the cardinal pattern. It is, more of an intermediate to advanced pattern, so we'll have to do it in that class. Georgia might have my head if I did beginner class. I think my beginners would have my head if I did it for beginner class. Thank you, Anna. I'm blessed to have you. Don't think I'm not. I mean, every one of you mean a lot to me. When one of y'all gets sick and I hear about it, I worry over you. When I say I'm praying for you, I really am praying for you. When you have difficulties at home, yeah, I'm right there with you. You aren't gonna do her that way. Your favorite bird? I was born in Kentucky, and That was our state bird was the cardinal. And when I married my husband, his mom for Christmas the 1st year, she got me a plate that had a cardinal on it in the tree, and she also got me a music box because I collected music boxes, and it had a cardinal in the Fabergé egg music box. I that is still in storage. I it's wrapped up, it's in storage. It's when we get tiny home, that's where it'll go, because 'cause that'll be our home base. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Carmen. You're sweet. You're sweet. Carmen's our star student this week. I know you are. All right, folks. Have you got any questions? Anything you need answers for? Now, tomorrow I will be out of pocket. I've got 2 pieces of furniture that came that we've got to put together and get locked in. So, we'll be busy all day tomorrow, and then we have to go over to storage and take some more stuff over there and get our heaters out of storage. This RV can get pretty darn cold in the winter, so we got space heaters that we use. Got a fireplace, but it's an electric fireplace, and it only heats the downstairs. The upstairs is like an ice box. So, and poor little Mia, where's she at? Mia, you down there? Mia, she's gone. Baby girl, come here. Oh, she's barking at me. Come here. You gotta say hi to everybody. Come on. All right, come here. All right. There she goes. This is my sweetie. Here she is. And she just got her hair cut and she's prissy. So that's my baby. And she was shivering. We call her Shiver Me Timbers. Oh, she's mama's pride and joy. She goes everywhere with us. I took her to the doctor's one time, and they got a kick out of her at the doctor's office. She was just barking at everybody. She's talking to them. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I bought an electric blanket, and it went out. What is with stuff? It don't last past the warranty. We just had to buy 2 batteries for the truck, found out they only last 3 years. Bought one for this, RV, found out it don't last for 3 years. Bought tires a year ago, and yeah, we had to have new tires. It's like, don't y'all make stuff that works anymore? Makes me worried to get a washer and dryer. I ain't paying that kind of money for it to only last for a year. Yeah, mattress pad is better. Yeah, Imma have to do something because it's cold. Well, we're up in the what's over the, 5th wheel hitch, so it gets windy and we just get it all. It just comes right on in. Yeah, they are. I agree with you, RD. That's the 3rd one I've had. He's on his 4th. He sleeps downstairs. He can't sleep in the bed. I have with my back, I do a lot of this, and it keeps him up, and, he has to work. So, yeah, he's got a bed downstairs, and I got one upstairs. Actually, these had on and off switches. It would only stay on for 2 hours and then cut off, and then you couldn't turn it back on for another hour. It had to completely cool down before you could turn it back on. Yeah, mom had one like that. You get sunburned, okay, sleeping, come out like, "Yeah, I'm done." Alright, folks, I'm gonna call it a day, and I wanna wish y'all a wonderful weekend. I hope everything you got planned for this weekend works out. If you're in cold country, stay warm. If you're in warm country, stay cool, okay? But above all, stay happy, alright? May all your threads make beautiful lace. Happy tatting, everyone. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.